And you are all set.
Thanks, Ms. Fraser. Good evening, everyone. I'm Carol Renault, and I'm co-chair of the Housing and Block Association Committee. I call this meeting to order. It's October 2nd, 2024, and it's approximately 7:34. We truly welcome you to the Housing and Block Association meeting. And Ms. Fraser, do we need to do a roll call? I know the housing we're building on the attendees at this time. We
Yes,
don't need to do a
because
formal roll call.
some attendees are sign on by telephone number, so we need to have their names. So a roll call would be good.
The person whose phone number ends in 24, can you give us your name?
Is that 3924?
Yes, it ends in 24. I can see the last two
Yes.
digits.
Yes, good evening. It's Simone Sylvester.
You have it, Ms. Fraser?
Yes, Miss Sylvester. Yeah. she
Yes,
reminded me.
I'm sorry. I lost internet today. I'm waiting for them to come and repair it.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Ms. Sylvester. We have someone whose phone number ends in 53. If you can give us your name.
Jason Stewart.
Thanks, Ms. Stewart.
Yeah.
And I believe that's it for now, Ms. Fraser. I believe we
Yes,
can see everyone
correct.
else.
Yes.
So let me go ahead and say thanks again for joining us. I'm the co-chair of Housing and Block Association. Ms. Nicole Julius, who is our other co-chair, she will be speaking later. In terms of our agenda, we usually give the report at this time, but tonight we have a guest speaker with us. We've reached out to various organizations and officials after our last meeting, and will update you on outstanding items after our guest speaker. To respect his time, we'd like to have him go first. This person is none other than Tyrone McDonald. And I hold Mr. McDonald in high regard because of the work that he's done over the years in the community. Part of the reasons why we invited him, he is from NHS, which is Neighborhood Housing Organization. And this is NHS of Brooklyn. We have several different NHSs. We've invited him because there is someone else speaking.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute right now and mute you. Yes, go ahead, Dr. Renaud.
Thanks, Ms. Fraser. So we've invited Mr. McDonald because he's with an organization that can help us to bridge the gap. We see that some of the resources that are available in our community, it's not reaching our community members. So hopefully by inviting Mr. McDonald and inviting other organizations in the near future, we will be able to bridge the gap, and our community members will be able to avail themselves of the services that are right here. Before Mr. McDonald speaks, I just want to give a brief bio. Tyrone McDonald is the Government and Community Relations Manager for Neighborhood Housing Services of Brooklyn. He is a HUD certified 40 plus year. This is a HUD certified 40 plus year not-for-profit organization. And prior to Mr. McDonald's current position, he was the marketing coordinator. His current role includes promoting the organization's mission and services to the community organizations and civic groups throughout Brooklyn, as well as fortifying relationships with elected officials, a responsibility that he enjoys tremendously. And I've seen Mr. McDonald in action, so I know he does truly enjoy this. So we're going to ask him to speak, to tell you a little bit about what the organization does. And we're going to leave time after so you can ask him questions directly. Mr. McDonald, welcome again, and thanks for being here.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. I really enjoy the honor and welcome to actually present before Community Board 17's Housing Committee. Let me get started. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to go over the mission and history of Neighborhood Housing Services of Brooklyn, because many people may not be aware of it and how intimate that history is. I'm going to go into the programs and services. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about the housing issue report from CB14. Fourthly, then I'm going to discuss the housing landscape within CB14, and then close out any questions and so forth. All right, so I'm going to start to share here. Okay, go to entire screen. All right, I'm having a little glitch here. I'm trying to go to entire screen. All right. Well, that's not working here. All right. Pardon me, everyone. I'm just trying to find my PowerPoint. I'm just not used to WebEx.
There should be a share menu at the bottom of your screen.
I do see it, Sharice. The only problem is when I click Microsoft Edge tab, I don't see my PowerPoint. My PowerPoint is like right at the bottom because I know I see it right here. Like it doesn't come up as an option. Let me go to Windows. All right, let me go to Windows. See what comes up here. Restore there. Okay. All right. So, all right, I'm in Windows. So let me go to my PowerPoint to see if it comes up. All right. All right, everyone, just need you a little cooperation. Do you see my PowerPoint?
It's not clear.
No.
No, you need to expand it.
Okay. Okay, it's not clear. It's interesting.
It says
Yeah,
you
I-
share the screen, but you need to expand it so
Okay.
everyone can
All right.
see.
Yeah.
Now I put it on reading view. Is it still blurry?
Yes, nothing is there, just a dark thing. It
Looks-
says you're sharing your.
Okay. That's weird. Okay, let me stop the share on this.
I think maybe you're sharing your full screen, and if you click on that Edge tab in your browser, you will see it. You just won't see us.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back to share.
Mhm.
All right. Go to Edge tab, and then what I click after I click Edge tab?
First, share your whole screen, and then it's
Okay.
going to be weird if you won't actually see us. You'll just have to believe we're there, but you have to click on your other tab with the power, I think.
All right. So share whole screen. Okay. All right. I'm gonna put that. All right. So
Yeah,
share my.
and now we see like all 9 million tabs. So if you go to the tab that I think I see that looks like a Microsoft Edge,
There you
yeah,
go.
now we see it.
You see it? Okay, great.
Yeah, now we're good.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your patience and for assistance. Okay. All right. So, all right. So welcome. All right. You have my title, Tyrone McDonald, Government Community Relations Manager. Here's my email if you need to contact me. Okay. I'm going to go over the mission, history of NHS, the programs and services, housing issue report from CB17, which you may find interesting, CB17's housing landscape, and then I'm going to close out with any questions with upcoming events if you have any questions, okay? So NHS is a community-based HUD-approved non-for-profit organization, and HUD is actually stands for Housing and Urban Development, which is a federal agency, and we've been around for 40 plus years, all right, going on 42 this year. And it's our mission to create and preserve affordable housing and to provide resources to underserved areas. And we do this by primarily concentrating on home ownership and also housing preservation. Okay. Now, how did we get started at NHS? Now, NHS has deep roots in CB17 because we actually got started in a campaign called Bank of Brooklyn, Bank of Brooklyn campaign, which is occurred in the early 80s. And if you know anything about New York City, but also, cities across the country, we were impacted heavily by redlining. And redlining was a practice where insurance companies and banks actually drew what they call a red line, where they actually denied financing from African American and other communities of color. They couldn't get financing, they couldn't get insurance, and so forth. So that's how NHS got started. But our primary focus was on home improvement loans because you had many African American and also Caribbean homeowners in the East Flatbush area who had homes, but they could not get home improvement loans. So we actually got started to fill in that gap. Many people like yourself, many people here are part of the community board. People who are active and just wanted to improve their community and make a difference. They actually founded NHS. So rather than if lenders did not want to extend home improvement loans to residents in the community, NHS actually filled that role. We were a lender, which includes loans and grants. So homeowners can complete those repairs and the community would not fall in disrepair. So that's how we got started, 40 plus years ago. So we actually have a deep and intimate history within the community. Okay. Now we have two offices, soon to be three. Our main office is at 2806 Church Avenue. And we also have an office in Canarsie, all right, 9701 Avenue L. And we have a soon brand new office on Coney Island, which is at 1923 Surf Avenue. We are happy to open up that office. It's been a long time coming. Okay, some of our programs and services. Now, for some of you, this may be repetitive, but hopefully for those who may be familiar with NHS, it will reinforce what you already know, or maybe you will find a program that you did not know about. And for those who are new, it will probably be a new revelation, which you could probably share with your neighbors and family. Okay, so for tenant, we provide for tenants and homeowners, for tenant counseling, we actually provide counseling, which includes going over leases with people, their rights with people. Tenant services is probably one of our foremost requests that we get. Not surprisingly, since New York City is majority tenant, roughly around like 64, 65% of the individuals who actually live here are tenants. So it's not unreasonable that, that's going to be a big request. Added to the fact of the affordability crisis, we have a lot of individuals also looking for housing. So with tenant services, some of our services include things such as, just explaining people's rights to them, whether they have a lease or don't, explaining their lease to them. A lot of people come in, want to know if they live in a rent stabilized apartment, if they do live in a rent stabilized apartment, is their landlord overcharging them? And so forth. As you know, there's been a number of recent landmark tenant legislation, the most recent one being just cause eviction, and before that was a major tenant legislation in 2019. So people have like a lot of questions related to that. We also get questions for people about to get evicted, and then they want to know what to do. They're behind in their rent, and let's say, for example, they need assistance with arrears, so they call us. They need home-based services, so they want to get connected to home-based services. They may need legal referral because they're about to get evicted. So those are some of the services that actually come under the banner of tenant counseling. Now, with renters insurance education, which is actually part of tenant counseling. Now, I just want to make clear, we don't sell insurance or promote like one carrier or the other. But over the years, we, due to many fires and also, just other issues, such as flooding and emergency issues and so forth, we actually recommend renters do get insurance, to financially, protect themselves. As you know, on 37th Street, there was a explosion in the basement. And there was a number of fires in Brooklyn this year, and many residents, actually lost a lot of their belongings, which totals thousands of dollars, in addition to being displaced. So what we discuss with renters insurance, we go over the policy, where the policy, how a premium is actually calculated, the different types of coverage people should know, how you're protected, the cost, and so forth. Once again, we're not here to sell, but we're here to actually give the information. And we see renters insurance is a form of financial protection All right, because once a disaster happens and and a person's fortunate enough not to lose their life or the life of their loved ones, they still have to grapple with some of the financial realities, such as loss of their dwelling, thousands of dollars, that goes towards loss of belongings, clothes, furniture, and so forth and so forth, and that could actually set people back immensely, right? Home buyer education, I'm gonna get more into that. We are a HUD certified buyer organization. Anybody wants to buy a home, co-op, or condo, basically is our road to act as a guide. Number one, we're here to actually explain to you your responsibility being a homeowner. Number two, we're also here to explain to you your financial readiness. How ready are you? What your goals relate to home buying? How ready are you? Are you in distance from achieving your goals? We also go over down payment and closing cost assistance. Are you eligible for any down payment and cost assistance? And we evaluate you such that. We also discuss with the first time home buyer affordable mortgage products, and we actually map out, how much they'll be paying, per month, how much would the interest, be, and so forth and so forth. What are some different affordable mortgage products they may be eligible for, so they can actually save money in the long run. So all of the things we discuss, and we are HUD certified to give that course. And we also assist people in terms of applying for down payment assistance. What we normally tell people, home buyer education, that home is probably going to be the most expensive investment in your life. So actually, it's very important. Actually, pays to be as formed as possible. Okay, landlord training. We have some individuals, and that is a subset of our home buyer education course. But with landlord training, you may have some individuals who either is a first-time home buyer, they want to buy a multi-unit, or you may have existing landlords. By existing landlords, I'm not talking about somebody who owns, let's say, a 20-unit building, but let's say somebody who owns a three-family house, and they probably rent out 2 of the units and probably live in 1 of the units. There's a lot of responsibility to that, as far as being a landlord, because you're responsible not only of yourself but also a tenant. So you're going to need to know some of the tenant laws. You just can't up and change the locks if you get into a disagreement with your tenant, and or if your tenant is not paying. You have to go through the process of eviction. So we talk about that. If you're marketing your property, whether you decide to market it online, through flyers, you must abide by the Fair Housing Act. All right, you can't say on the flyer or any literature that you're not gonna rent it out to anybody with children, so forth and so forth. So we discussed that. We discussed best practices as far as screening tenants. What are some best practices as far as screening tenants? What is things you should take into consideration? Okay. And also want to add, when it comes to the Fair Housing Act, that also extends to real estate agents that you may hire to actually list your property, and make sure that they don't engage in any type of discrimination, because you will also be held liable for that. We also discuss various rules and regulations within New York City that you should take into consideration. Okay. We also provide resources for homeowners, because we found out that homeowners, once they own a home, there's a lot of other obligations that they must fulfill. So we have workshops on property taxes, home and flood insurance, energy efficiency. As a homeowner, at some time during the line, you may want to consider refinancing. What are the best conditions to refinance? Some people want to refinance for a better rate. Other people want to refinance because they want to take money out for another endeavor. They want to buy another property. They want to do repairs and so forth and so forth. Mortgage counseling. You have many individuals, and I'll get to this later, who were impacted severely by COVID. And before COVID, we had the 2008 crisis, where we have a significant number of individuals received subprime mortgages. So they had hefty interest rates, or they had balloon rates. Or under COVID, you had situations where people were either laid off, they either had a family member who actually passed away, due to COVID, or let's say they received a reduction in hours and became behind in their mortgage. And we're still even dealing with the after effects of that, even though we're 4 years after COVID, 2 years after the official end of COVID. So we're actually still reeling with that for individuals who behind in their mortgage and they want to know what to do. When it comes to foreclosure, I want to add that is probably one of the most difficult subjects to broach and actually difficult people to reach. Oftentimes, people in foreclosure, from experience, when they come to us when it's far too late, and a lot of times they do get caught up with bad actors because in the event to prevent shame, they try to handle it and not tell even some of their family members what's going on, and sometimes they get taken advantage of, whether it's attorneys or whether it's other real estate professionals who take advantage of them, which lead to other things like deed theft, which does happen. Or we have situations where people, don't see a good outcome in it, but however, they just keep on taking their funds and nothing happens. And then they end up, coming back to us or another not-for-profit. All right. I already went to landlord training. Now, property management is actually a new program that we have. What we found out with property management is that a large property management is a business model is actually modeled after buildings. People who own 20 units or more. But what we have found out was that there are smaller homeowners, and there was a need for property management for small homeowners because you have individuals who actually may rent out some of their units who probably need help with that. You also have other individuals who actually own property, who's inherited property, but they live in another state, another city. So traveling back to Brooklyn may be a hardship for them. So so that may be a good instance. You also have other individuals inherit the property, and the responsibility of renting it out, may be a little daunting for them. So we have property management, and with this property management program, we do all the we take all the responsibilities in that, where we actually collect the rent. We also pay bills, if a person has a mortgage, water bill, taxes, and so forth. And we actually negotiate, what a person would like to do, because you have some individuals who still want to pay their bills, but they just want us to collect the rent. We're also responsible for any maintenance, like, getting contractors, cleaning, repairs, snow removal, that sort of thing. We take advantage. We're responsible for. We also provide estate planning. We do this through some of our key partnerships we have. We work with Grow Brooklyn. I do want to stay with estate planning that we don't trust is not a big, a special area of expertise for us and our partners. But when it comes to estate planning, we do mostly concentrate on wills, healthcare proxies, and also living wills. So keep that in mind. And, we do want to get people started regarding that. Excuse me. We also provide financial education that is not home buyer or housing related. That's any financial education a person may have. So let's say they just want to improve their credit. Let's say, for example, they just want to put more money for their children's college fund, put more money for summer vacation, put more money for a car. Let's say they want to improve their credit, so they can actually get a better mortgage product. Whatever the case may be, we have that. Disaster preparedness, we give workshops on disaster preparedness regularly and try to integrate that in many of our homeowner programs. And with home maintenance training, that is a popular do-it-yourself program, which is going on right now. It's currently held at the YMCA on Flatbush and Rogers Avenue, and that's a 7-week course. It's a do-it-yourself course, which teaches you how to do repairs yourself. All right, and we have a level 1 and level 2, and it's completely hands-on. We're proud to say. And the course, the level 1 goes over things such as tiling, You'll learn how to install sheetrock. You'll learn how to repair sheetrock. You'll learn how to put in beams. You will learn how to use various tools, what tools should be in your toolkit, what are necessary must-have, some safety tips. In a level 2, mostly covers plumbing. And plumbing, we don't get too much into complex stuff because we understand there's certain things you need a license to do, but things such as leaks, you can do. Installing a toilet, you should be able to do. Troubleshooting. We also cover electrical, like installing switches and outlets, dimmers, putting in a dimmer. Those things, anyone should be able to handle. And we also cover roofing as well. Now, we're also proud to offer the Empower program. And a power program is with NYCHA, and that is an energy reduction type program. So what does it entail? Now, with the Empower program, homeowners and also renters may be eligible for free energy assessments, just to see, what type of, is your home, actually bleeding energy, heat, letting in coldness, and so forth. Is it well insulated? And we do a free assessment with that. On this program, a homeowner can actually receive free LED light bulbs. If a person wants to do, a homeowner wants to do like any energy upgrades or appliance upgrades, we look into any grants and rebates they may be eligible for. If they want to do repairs, we look at any grants related to any type of energy related repairs. In addition to that, we also advise you on tax credits that may be available if you want to do solar or any other efficiency upgrades or repairs. It's a very good program. So we also want to do that because it all falls under our mission of home ownership, but also housing preservation. Okay, go next slide. All right. So here's offers for 23 services. Just request, and this is throughout the entire organization for 2023. We had 9,636 that somebody called, sent an email, or walked in the office requesting some type of service. They wanted to attend an event, a workshop, or so forth. Now, for homeownership preservation promotion, we 4,217. Now, homeownership preservation promotion, that includes many things. It includes many of our workshops that we give throughout the year, whether it's fairs, webinars, and so forth. Homeownership mortgages. Now, we closed 12 affordable mortgages totaling 6.6 million. Now, when it comes to education, it's far more people than that. But because we have, we give home buyer education classes online as well as in person. So in person, we give like a roughly about 6 classes a year, and there's roughly anywhere from 12 to 15 people in those classes. And then we also give a class online where anyone can actually take, as they see fit. But we closed 12 mortgages. All right. So you actually had 12 families who are actually happy homeowners for that year. Now, when it comes to foreclosures, we had 161 modifications. What does that mean? That means you had 161 homeowners or families who did not lose their home. All right. And this is throughout Brooklyn. Okay. And that's very important, because when it comes to foreclosure, it's not just an individual tragedy. It also affects the community as well, because that is a person who's displaced. That's a home is sitting there. That's a tax-based loss. So actually, that's less a child who's not in the school system. So there's a ripple effect when we speak about foreclosure. All right, it's not just an individual tragedy. So we actually saved 161 families from that in last year. We actually gave out 13 affordable loans and grants totaling 260 people. We actually counseled, I'm sorry about that. Let me go back to it. Sorry about that. Okay. We actually counseled 450 tenants. These includes tenants who actually need help with Housing Connect. which is a lottery system. People were just calling in for apartments. Excuse me. Because you know, people for apartments, people getting evicted and they need help with that. People calling in with rental arrears. We also assist individuals who want senior citizen rent freeze exemptions and also disabled rent freeze exemptions, called SCREE and DREE respectively. All right, that's SCRIE and DREE is DRIE respectively, which is a rent freeze exemption if you're a senior or disabled person, you live in a rent stabilized apartment. We counsel 690 homeowners and also renters on their flood insurance policy, very key, because within that, you know, those are homeowners who may not be aware of what's in their policy. We often discover many interesting things, such as some people paying too much insurance. Some people have a policy that can actually get a better deal. Some people actually are not covered by certain things, and they probably should be covered by certain things. So it's very revealing in these sessions, and people actually benefit from the long run. And we actually currently, it's actually more than this by now. It's in the 40s, but at that time we were actually managing 33 units under property management. Okay. Okay, now here's a request that you're going to find interesting from Community Board 17. And this is a request which I pulled from our client management system called CMAX. It stands for Counselor Max, which is a client management system. And this dates back from January 2023 to August 31st, 2024. Now and I did this by zip code. Now, and this is generally true. Now I understand with some of the zip codes are shared by different community boards, like 11210 is also shared by Community Board 18. I also understand that 11226 is also shared by Community Board 14. But this is basically generally true because I actually compiled this by zip code. But as far as our number one request for service when it comes to housing related issues in Community Board 17, number one is tenant support services, which came in at 1,386 requests. All right, which is understandable given the housing crisis we've been in for a number of years. That's people who want to look for apartments. That's people who help with Housing Connect. People coming to us with arrears, so have you. Okay. After that, we have pre-purchase counseling, which is basically first-time home ownership, and that comes in at 1,003. All right, so you have about 1,003 persons who actually reside in Community Board 17 from January 23 to August 31st, actually either attended a workshop, came in for counseling, were interested in purchasing a home. Okay. Thirdly, interesting enough, was foreclosure intervention, which is at 522. All right. So we got, whether it's an email, call, a person walked in, we got 522 requests from individuals that live in Community Board 17 for foreclosure. Others are financial, 404 people left it blank, but with financial capabilities, we had 146 people from Community Board 17, insurance 105, 88 repair requests, and 80 requests for home maintenance training and so forth. Okay, that's very basically key. All right. All right. So before I do that, I also want to go. All right. I'm going to do a resource just to give out the landscape of CB17. All right, on the housing landscape. All right. So I'm just going to go online. Does anyone see a website? It should say East Flatbush BK17. Do you see that?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. Now, this is actually a good resource, which I would actually implore the members of the Housing Committee to take advantage of. The website is the FurmanCenter.org. The Furman Center is actually a housing research group, which is a part of NYU. And every year they compile a lot of data. They produce papers, reports on housing issues impacting renters and homeowners throughout New York City. And every year they have like a state of housing, which they actually produce. I think they stopped producing the hard copy and they going virtually online. But I just pulled up East Flappers CB17. Just to go over some demographics that housing demographics that you may find interesting. Okay. All right. And this actually, the data here goes up until 2022. Okay. One interesting thing here, which I noted, was that the vacancy rate as of 2022, I believe it's gotten worse because the vacancy rate overall within New York City, and the vacancy rate is just the available homes for sale and also apartments for rent. As of 2022 was 4.1%. Now, in the grand scheme of things, normally in housing, anything below a 6%, you basically consider in a housing crisis. Okay, so keep that in mind. So in 2021, when we were in the middle of the pandemic, it was 3.9%. So the vacancy actually increased. So as of 2022 is 4.1%. I believe it dropped because the overall vacancy rate of New York City actually dropped. In 2023, the overall vacancy rate was about 4.25%, and now it's probably 1.something%. So I'm assuming East Flatbush probably dropped too, meaning that there's probably less available apartments and also homes for sale. All right. Also, something else I find interesting, as far, and this is the median, and once again, this is 2022. I can guarantee the prices went up. When it comes to the median rental price for a 2-bedroom, and as of 2022, it was $1,790. I can guarantee you that has went up since then. Okay. Something very interesting as far as rent burden. Now, when it comes to affordability, according to HUD, their guidelines of what is considered affordable is anything below 30% of whatever your gross income is. So if your housing cost is 30% or less, it's pretty much considered affordable. Anything between 30 to 50% is considered moderately house burden, and 50% up is severely house burden. Okay. So, all right, within Community Board 17, moderately rent and burden households who are low income, it's 31%, 31.6%. All right. So individuals who are low income who are moderately rent burden are 31.6%. Overall, moderately rent burden household within Community Board 16 is 20.5%. Okay. Severely rent burden overall is 30.7%. That's individuals who are actually paying any more than 50% of their income, gross income on rent. Okay. Let me go into some of the housing stuff, which I find interesting, which is actually a good resource. When it comes to foreclosures, all right, individuals who are foreclosures, and something is considered foreclosure once a person is 3 months behind, then there's a possibility that their lender can actually file for what they call a lis pendens or a foreclosure action. Just a little bit about foreclosure. Luckily, in New York State is a legal state, meaning that before a lender can actually file a foreclosure action, you are given many opportunities in court to actually have a deal where you can actually get a loan modification. This is where we come in as an organization where we help people, individuals, and we also refer them to free legal assistance, to try to help them out. But after you fall behind, it's not just a one-way trip to foreclosure. You actually have different opportunities. What often happens when it comes to foreclosure is many individuals, whether in a state of shock, shame, don't respond or open up their mail, and things get worse over time. But within Community Board 7, as of 2022, you had about 17.1 foreclosure notices per 1,000. Okay. Now, when it comes,
Tyrone, just to pause, we're looking at the time, and we know you had another engagement. We just want to leave enough time for questions as well. Thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you. Thank you for actually reminding me of the time. Okay, great. And just lastly, just on the foreclosure, before I can actually take any questions. East Flatbush, as you can see, is the blue line here, and the orange line right here is Brooklyn. Just keep in mind the foreclosure rate East Flatbush is actually higher than Brooklyn, and actually higher than the citywide rate. So Community Board 17 is in Brooklyn actually has one of the higher foreclosure rates, particularly like zip codes 11203. Okay, so I'm going to end it there. All right, let me just pause out of here. Okay. Stop share. Stop sharing.
Thanks again, Tyrone. We would now like to open it to questions regarding NHS or regarding anything that Mr. McDonald went over.
Yeah, I understand it was a lot of information, so I'll give you like a minute to actually collect yourself.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald, for your presentation. Just a quick question. There were some energy programs regarding getting like an HVAC kind of hybrid system. Is that, I don't know what happened during the course of the summer, but I contacted someone and the program was on, then it was off, and we don't know the begin dates and the end dates.
Okay, got you. Now I believe you're talking about the HEAT program, right? Because am I correct with the HEAT program? Is can't remember what the full acronym means, but the HEAT program gives energy assistance, but they also have like a program where they actually provide free air conditioners over the summertime.
Yes, because you were able to get, well, supposedly a split system.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
Yes.
mhm.
Question?
But the problem was that when I'm sorry, somebody, I can't, there's some discrepancy and I can't hear. The issue was, where do you find the listing of approved contractors? Because they sent me to a website, however, it didn't list the contractors.
All right. Well, I don't think it. Okay, so
It's with Con Ed, but it's for neighborhoods, you know? It's
right. You know what? What I would suggest you do is you can probably either give me a call offline. I'll put my information in the chat, because with the Empower program we're a part of with NYSERDA, they do provide like just various energy assessments, and they do have like a list of contractors. Now, most of the contractors we deal with, like with some of the like energy assisted repairs, NYSERDA contractors. So we actually can look just to, I can have somebody work with you to try to sift through all of that. So, so you're not bumping your head.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Not a problem.
Any other questions for Mr. McDonald? We have like a few more minutes.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure. Go right ahead.
My name is, good evening, Community Board Housing Committee. This is Kimberly Mormon. My question is, does your agency have like a listing of brokers? Like, for example, no fee brokers? And my other question is, do you actually help people navigate the housing, I forgot what you call that online, the lottery?
Housing Connect?
Yes, Housing Connect. Do you help people do that when they come into your agency? Do we have to make an appointment to come down to your agency?
Yeah, well, to answer your question, our doors are always open. All right. However, if you need extensive time, like with Housing Connect, you definitely you need to make an appointment. You can either come in and we'll schedule an appointment, or you can call us and we'll schedule an appointment. But we do certainly help people navigate Housing Connect. We understand that some individuals may not be tech savvy. They may have some glitches that they don't understand. We're actually housing ambassador. So it's our duty to help people in the community navigate Housing Connect. If they need help with an appeal letter because they got denied and unjust, or let's say they need help uploading documents, because a marketing agent requires documents and they have like 7 days to actually, so they can come down. We can actually help that. Now, regarding the brokers, I have to get back to you regarding that. Now, we do have real estate agent brokers who work for us. I'm assuming you're talking about for apartments, right? I'm assuming you're talking about for
Yes.
apartments.
Yes, because
Yeah,
I'm a renter. I've never owned a home.
Got you.
And also, I would be willing to possibly look at just regular brokers, but I think it would be more affordable if I could get access to no-fee brokers. I'm actually,
Okay.
I need to move before the end of the year.
Okay. So we could talk offline regarding that. I have to check with my colleague regarding whether there's fee or no fee. So I have to check. Because I know there's been a big issue with the city council did pass. I don't know if it passed, but the city council did where agents who actually work for landlords would not pass on the fee to the tenant or the apartment seeker. Excuse me. And that the landlord has to pay the broker fee. I have to see. It was a bill passed by the council member Bed-Stuy. I have to see if that ever passed. But I'll get back to you on that. All right, regarding that. But you can always certainly reach out to us regarding with Housing Connect.
Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Tyrone, if you're able to, are you able to speak on some of the grants that might be available to specialized members of our communities, such as the veteran grants that are not necessarily moving?
Sure, definitely. Well, some of the grants that we do have, well, a popular one that we actually work with is the Home First Grant, which is a down payment closing cost assistance program for individuals looking to buy their first home. And by being a first-time home buyer, that's someone who's not owned a home in the last 3 years. So an individual can actually have owned a home 10 years ago and they're getting back in the market now, they will be considered a first-time home buyer. Now, with that grant, you can get up to $100,000 or 20% of the purchase price, whichever is less. Okay. So keep in mind, if you're buying a home which is $400,000, 20% that is $80,000. So you get the $80,000. If you're buying a property which is $600,000, 20% of that is $120,000. So you'll get the max, which is $100,000. So that's actually a grant offered by HPD. All right, which is very popular. So we look to see if people qualify for it. We do an evaluation, and if a person does, we inform them of their requirements, and we apply for them. Now, from time to time, we also get home improvements. From time, we don't have any now. We have applied for some. We apply for them on an annual basis, whether it's the state or the city council. The city council have something called Home Fix, which we get. We also, and when it comes to home repair grants, it's like up to $20,000. Now it's for Brooklyn homeowners. So you have to be a Brooklyn homeowner. The home has to be owner occupied. Okay. And the repair address some type of either energy efficiency, some dish repair, like some damage, like a leaky roof, very common and very popular, very common issue in our area. It's an energy efficiency, code violations, even accessibility for individuals who are disabled. That's what you can use it for. You can't use it to, let's say, extend, your deck or anything like that. Nothing extravagant like that. It has to address some type of damage, dish repair, or energy efficiency issue. So we do have that. All right. As far as the grants, That's about it. Now, we did have a grant for veterans, but unfortunately that has since passed, that Ms. Carroll referred to, and that was a grant for veterans who are disabled. You have to be a Brooklyn veteran, and you can get $20,000, for ramps, grab bars, any repair which was considered, disabled. And the veteran who's disabled didn't necessarily have to be disabled due to combat. I mean, they can been disabled while in civilian life, or just being old age, fragileness due to old age would qualify them, for these repairs as well. Unfortunately, that has ended. But you can always check us out and sign up on our website if you want to be notified for any upcoming grants and so forth. So it's a little bit about some of the various grants that we have.
All right, Mr. McDonald, we thank you so much for your time again. And I know you have other engagements. So we want to let everyone on here know that you can reach out to NHS. I've dropped it in the chat. I've included his phone number on there, and they are extremely receptive to all of these programs that were mentioned before. So if anything comes up after Mr. McDonald leaves, please reach out to NHS. Mr. McDonald, thank you so much again, and we look forward to working with you with some of these new programs.
Thank you very much, Carol, and CB17 Housing Committee. I had a wonderful time. I had fun, and don't be shy. Feel free to reach out to me. And if I don't have the answer, I'll definitely get you to someone who can answer that question. Okay.
Thanks so
All right,
much
thank you.
again. We know you have to leave.
Take care now.
All right, so we're going to continue, and I keep looking at the time as well. Chair Daly, I'm going to give you a few minutes at the end. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill in some of the gaps with where we left off last meeting. We had a snow removal assistant. Someone had asked about snow removal. I was able to speak with Council Member Lewis's community liaison, Daniel Heredia. He noted that whichever of our elders are requesting snow removal services, that they should contact their office. And I'm going to put the number in the chat as well, the main number to Council Member Farah Lewis's office. So he said just reach out to them at that time. Last meeting, one other member had asked about plants and services. I believe it was Miss Jacinth Stewart. We've sent her an email and we've included the BBG link. We've also included where she can pick up free plants. So I hope that she sees that email and that she will respond. Anyone else who's on here who might be interested, just go to bbg.org. You can volunteer, you can sign up for free classes, and you can watch for free plant giveaways. One other follow-up that we had was the gas leak. On our end, on the housing end, we don't need to do anything else. Community Board 17. I've seen a few emails that were sent out from the chair of the district manager of the board. So we've addressed this, and we're just asking you to please follow any instructions that comes to your home on these cards that they send to you. If for some reason you did not receive the emails, please reach out to Community Board 17 and directly so they can add you to the email list. And I'm also going to drop that number in the chat. A few more before I ask my co-chair to speak on the Block Association. Last meeting, someone had mentioned that we have a great percentage of our community that's elderly, and they need to hear about more services for the elderly, especially as it pertains to housing. We've reached out to the Department for the Aging, and we hope that we're going to have a speaker who will come in and address many of the services that are available and available for free to our aging population. So that will be coming within the next month or two. The shower bus funds, that's ongoing. We are in the process of having meetings with Assembly Member Assembly Member Clark. So we will be following up on that in the future. And in terms of reaching out to us, there is a new email that I'm going to drop in the chat as well. The end of the meeting is not the end of our contact. You can always reach out directly to Community Board 17, or if it's housing related, you can reach out to us. And I'm going to put the CB17 housing and block at gmail.com. I'm going to drop that in the chat also. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it over to my co-chair, Ms. Nicole Julius, so she can fill you in on the Block Association section of what we're trying to share with you. Ms. Julius?
Hi, good evening, everyone. As we know, Block Association plays a very crucial part in fostering our community engagement. So just to reiterate some of the importance of Block Association is it builds the community, it provides safety and security, beautification, and so much more benefits. So our goal this year is to increase our membership in the Housing and Block Association, and just not to increase it. By increasing it, we'll get the benefits of creating these communities. And also, in addition to increasing it, these people will get more involved in coming to the board meetings. So our goal is, so if you live on a block and there is not a block association, we ask that you reach out via our email or Community Board 17 and say, hey, we'd like to form a block association. We would provide you with the necessary tools in order to create a block association. Last meeting, we spoke about grants. So I researched that there's a few grants that Block Association can receive. Some of them are Love Your Block, Community Development, grants to New York City neighborhoods. So there's quite like 5 or 6. So in the next week or so, I'll provide that information to the community board to send out to our members so that they can secure and try to get some of these grants. Next thing I want to cover is, I know a lot of the blocks focus on block association, block parties, but there's another thing that you could also apply for, cleanup day. So again, I provide the information. It's a nice way to get the block together to come out in the spring. You're allotted. So it's just like applying for a permit for a block party. You apply for a cleanup day permit. It's 4 hours. You're granted 4 hours where the block to be closed, and you can, come together, whether you want to paint your steps, get rid of garbage, whatever. It just brings the community together to prepare, for their block beautification. That's all I have for now. Anyone have any questions?
Thank you for that. Is there any fee associated with applying for the block cleanup day?
I believe this. I'm not 100% sure, but I could find out that. So I'm gonna make sure I put all this in writing and have them share with everyone that's here. So you will have all the information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Ms. Julius. Any other questions before we all right, before we go to new business, unfinished business, and any new business, I'm going to give our Chair Daly a few minutes. Chair Daly, you have something to share. Thanks for being here.
All right, just turn it on. Just real fast. Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Dr. Renaud and Co-Chair Julius. There's a couple of things. One, the conversation around the city of Yes has been bounced back to recommendations from our local community, and that we are looking to get more suggestions. There was a letter that went out by our chair, Kwame Afray, for land use and rezoning that went out. But if you have any suggestions or anything that you feel that City of Yes should work on, please make sure you forward that over to the email. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the City of Yes. It's been going around for a little bit. I know this committee has not met, but if you need some questions and answers around the City of Yes, please feel free to contact us, or you can contact the board and speak to the land use. I think that meeting tomorrow is tomorrow night also, Ms. Frazier, I believe.
Yes,
Just
it
to
is.
confirm. It is, right? So if you need that link to talk about it, I will be speaking to the chair in the morning.
And the new deadline for the City of Yes, November 14th.
Right. And we as a community board, please come out to our community board on October 18th to voice your opinion, if any. I had the privilege of going to downstate and meeting with the president of downstate, some other elected officials, to talk about what they're doing at downstate and how they would like to see some changes. Please note that we are working, and I will also come up in my report on the 18th. The governor has formed a committee with 5 members to talk about ways to improve downstate and what needs to happen at that level. So we're working on that. The next thing that daffodils, there are a number of daffodils in the office. I heard Chair Dr. Renaud talking about plants. So individuals who like the daffodil bulbs, they are in the office. Ms. Frazier can discuss with you times when you can pick them up, because it's not always available. So you can have that conversation around that. The last comment is that October 19th, no, two announcements from the board perspective. One is October 19th. The board will be hosting a street fair and community fair. If you have not received the flyer about it, Ms. Frazier, please make sure that all of the committee members get a flyer so they can come out and participate. There'll be a number of agencies there to discuss different things that you might have. So you might have City of Aging, you might have Department of Health, and other agencies that will be coming out to have that conversation. And lastly, we're not getting enough participants within our community for our spelling bee. Our spelling bee will be Monday, October 14th, right? There'll be giveaway and prizes for people, young children up to the 8th grade. So if you have a person who's in the 8th grade, up to the 8th grade, from 2nd grade to 8th grade, we like to show off our talent in Community Board 17. So the child has to attend school or live in Community Board 17. So if the child lives in the area, attends schools in the area, they qualify. Please, we're looking for our students, especially our students of color, to shine. We know they can shine, but they're not being given the opportunity to shine. So I'm imploring all of us to have them come out October 14th to the spelling bee. That's Monday. There's no school that day. School is closed, right? So they can come out. It's going to be at Crystal Ray. And thank you again, Chair Dr. Renaud. And also, please, everybody, October 15th is the general board meeting. Please show up if you can, okay? And ask questions and get some answers. Maybe something was going to show up that you didn't know that you could have done or knew about, and it will be there. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chair Daly. And I just want to reiterate the importance of showing up. I've been to other community board meetings, and it's usually like a packed house. We just want to reiterate that you can make changes. I've dropped our district manager's email address in the chat. Please reach out to her, ask her to add you to the main list so that you can get all the mailings, all the emails for all of the different committees, and to know when the general meeting is coming up as well. So it is in the chat. We're now going to move to, we have a question.
Hands up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who is that?
Ms. Frazier?
Miss Fraser, I didn't see you. I'm
Yes.
looking at a small phone.
Okay. So we created a registration form for the community and the board members to resubmit if they may have been members of a specific committee. And one of the issues we've had over the past year is a quorum, especially when we're looking to make recommendations to the board. So that form, it's a Google Doc form. I believe Ms. Farrell completed it today. If it's not a Google Doc, then the form will be sent out to every committee member and board members to resubmit their preference, the meetings that they would like to attend to us so that we could add them to the appropriate committees, to the committees of their choices. So that should be going out by Friday. Everyone should receive that form by Friday. I'm asking the committee members to complete and board members to complete. If you're interested in being a member of the committee and not just a visitor, please complete and send it back to us. And regarding the bulbs, the chair of the Parks and Beautification Committee actually asked us to hold off on distributing the bulbs. We will be taking it to the event on the 19th and then for distribution to the public. So we want to encourage community residents to come out to the event, the community fair on the 19th. We're going to have a table there and we will be distributing the bulbs to the community residents. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Fraser. We can't stress enough that we need everyone on here to join us. Some of these committees are, the attendance is rather low. Sometimes the general board meeting, we need more voices. We need to put these things into action that we literally speak about on these meetings. So please join us. With that said, we're going to go to new business. Oh, I'm sorry, any other unfinished business that we might not have touched on? All right, hearing none. Any new business that any attendees would like to bring up at this meeting? And
I'm
pardon-
sorry, just Chair Daly.
Yes, you have a new business, Chair Daly?
Just it's kind of new business, but more of an understanding for those individuals who are part of a block party. I mean, a block association. You know that it's a different process if you're a block association to file for a street event, like a block party. If it's easier when you have a block association to get a block party than when you are applying as an individual. So you need to speak to the office to make sure that whether or not you're a block association or not, and you can do that, and also begin the process of trying to get the dates for your block party and the time, because you have to start having that discussion, because that time gets filled up and they only allow a certain amount on a certain day. So if there's a day in mind, you need to start talking about that and have a conversation with your block association. So it's not really new business, but more of an update on something that the membership needs to know.
Got it. Thanks for bringing that up.
And the other thing, if you're interested in being a member of the board, the application will come out next month, earlier next month, and they will end in February. So if anybody is interested in being a member of the board, not just a committee member, but a board member, if you need to know how to get to become a board member, you could always call me, call Dr. Renaud, and we'll talk about what the steps are that you need to do. Thank you, Dr. Renaud.
All right, thanks for that again. Any of our attendees here? I see someone's hand up. Ms. Ochoa, your hand is up, or is it from earlier?
No, it was up. I had a question about asking for green space on our block, like tree beds, and how that works if we want to request a tree or tree beds for our block.
All right, I'm writing it here. I do work with the Botanic Garden, so I'm gonna start there, and someone else might be interested in what you're asking. We're just gonna make sure we have the answer in the one email that we send out to all of the committee members, to everyone who's showing up to these meetings. So you're looking at green space and how you go about getting a tree bed?
Yes, on one side of our block, I live on Beverly between East 32nd in New York, and one side has 3 tree beds and the other side has 0. And our block has a lot of flooding, so I was thinking it would be nice if we could get some just tree beds to help with that on the other side of our block.
Got it. I've written it here, and we're gonna get the specifics. I know the city, they've asked for residents to help them take care of the existing trees. Are there trees on the block as well for these tree beds?
On the one side there are, but on the other side of the block, it's just completely cement. There's no grass or dirt or space at all.
Understood. I've written it here, and again, we're gonna get the details and provide it to yourself and to the rest of the committee members on here.
Thank you.
No worries. And it's important, right? It affects our health directly because our community, we're not, there was a study that was done, and I only speak on this, I keep bringing up the greenest block and I keep bringing up how much we plant on my block. But there's a study that was recently completed that said that places without trees are hotter than places that has trees. For example, East New York, they might have a temperature increase of 5 to 7% compared to Park Slope. So it is definitely important and it affects our health. We're going to get that information out to you. Any other new business or any other questions or ideas or anything that we can assist you with before we close out for the night?
Hello,
Yes, I'm here. Who's speaking?
this is Miss Daniel speaking. I just want to say, I'm here, so you could put me present.
Thanks so much, Miss Daniels. Miss Fraser, do we need to do a roll call for any other unverified number?
Yes, I have I think 24 and 53 already introduced themselves. We have numbers ending in 11 and 79. I don't know who those persons are. And yeah, those are the 2 numbers.
The person whose number ends with 11, can you verify yourself just so we can log in that you were here?
I don't know. I didn't verify myself, but I don't know if you see my name at all. It says Leslie.
We can see you, Leslie. Yes, it's Leslie F.
Yes, Fraser. I didn't want to confuse it with Miss Fraser. It's
No,
spelled
you're-
differently, but it's just Fraser.
You're fine. We can see you. The person
Okay.
whose number, it starts with 7185 and it ends with 11. If you can verify yourself. All right, we're gonna go to the next person. It's the number starts with 9178 and it ends with 79. If you can verify yourself.
That's Miss Daniel.
Miss
Oh, that's
Daniels,
Miss
thank you. Now we see.
And
you.
I see Miss Price, CK Price hand is up.
Miss Price, you have something else to add?
Good evening. I was on earlier by phone and until my computer was able to match up. My question is, I wasn't able to make the September meeting. So my question is, I know that last year, Chair Ms. Fields was trying to do some kind of a housing conference or presentation. I was wondering if you were planning on doing that this year.
What we're gonna try to do, and we have to figure out, Miss Fields's work is still alive and well. I don't know if you heard about the shower bus that she was able to get funds on.
I was not. I did not.
So she was able to secure funding from council, I keep saying council member, from Yvette Clark's office. So the housing is one, the housing bus, we're working on that, and we will state more about that in the future. So that part of her work is still alive. In regards to housing conferences, what we're gonna try to do, we're gonna try to bridge some of these organizations that are already providing these services with us. For example, tonight we had NHS speak. We have a few more organizations that will come in and speak. So whenever they're having their housing conferences, we're going to be partnering with them. We're going to be attending those conferences before we do anything in silo. So her work is still alive and well. We're just bridging it with some of these organizations that already exist. Does that answer the question, CK Price, or?
Yes, thank you.
And again, if there's anything else that we do have Ms. Fraser, you had something as well. It looks like you were adding in.
No, I'm done. That's it. Well, I wanted to also express my thank you to you publicly for picking up and taking up from where Miss Fields left off. You know, she really had a vibrant meetings, and she did bring tons of resources to the committee. I'm also thinking of assisting in the expansion of attendance. What I did, I'm taking a look at those block associations in the community who applied for street activity permits. And I'm going to be reaching out to them. The office will be reaching out to encourage them to join this groups, this committee, to lend their knowledge. And, you know, I believe collectively we could expand and bring more resources to some of the associations who are still in the infantile stages of formation, and encourage them and assist them in building on their blocks. So it's a work in progress. I did work closely with Ms. Fields, and I intend to work closely again with this group. Thank you.
And thanks for that, Ms. Fraser. And we are doing everything to ensure that her work does not go unnoticed. For example, someone had mentioned at one of our meetings that when we do get that shower bus, we're hoping that everything goes fine. The idea behind the shower bus is that members of our community who are unhoused will be able to use these shower buses. So we have all these nice terminologies that we use now. And sometimes I guess they want us to use these so it's not as harsh. But we have a lot of homeless people. I walk on Flatbush. I live near King's Theater, and I walk on Flatbush, and I'm just shocked at what I see. So we're doing everything to ensure that Miss Fields' work does not go unnoticed. The shower bus, we're thinking also of naming it in her honor. So we're hoping that that comes to fruition. We did get the funds, and this was because of her work. So her work is still here. And thanks for asking that question, CK Price. If you see us going in any direction that is way off, we're going to ask members of this committee to steer us back on. We have a lot of organizations that have resources that are not being matched with members of the public. So that's kind of like where we want to take it for now, but we're not forgetting Ms. Fields' work. We're still incorporating what she did, because she did do a lot, and we always want to acknowledge the people that came before us. Anything else before we, any other new business? No, we just want to remind you as well that we have that email. We have Ms. Fraser, and we want to say, please use it. We don't just want to get on these meetings and say, yeah, email me, and then no one gets back to you. You have to hold us accountable. So I've dropped that email in the chat. When the meeting ends, kindly send us an email, use it, housing related. What we ask though, we ask that you at least try to utilize the resources that are already established before you reach out to us. So for example, if it's someone not picking up the garbage in front of your home, we ask that you call 311 first. We ask that you call them one more time so that when you call us, you're going to at least have that number to give us. Then we can try to escalate it. So we have to use the resources that are already out there. Anything else before we wrap it up for the night? Miss Julius, I'm going to have you give the last word, and then we can end as well, to have you end it out. We might have lost Miss Julius. If there are no other new business, I'm going to ask someone to...
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Sorry.
I said, we lost you. I said...
Yeah, I was talking to myself. So I just want to say thanks everyone for joining us this evening. I just want to continue to encourage you. Bring a neighbor, bring a friend, invite someone to the meeting. Let's grow this committee. Let's grow, beautify our neighborhood. We could be a powerful committee. So continue to help us develop and continue to do the great works the previous person who ran the committee did. So looking forward to bring your ideas, and you don't have to wait till this meeting. Now you have an email. You can email us any concerns, something comes up. So this way, if we need to research it and have the answers to you by the next meeting, we can do so. Turn it back over to you, Dr. Bruno.
Thanks, Miss Julius. And with that, we're going to say have a great weekend, everyone. We truly appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining again.
Thank you all. Have a good night, everyone.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Thank you all.